Well, look who decided to upload. Yeah, it's me. Happy New Year, guys. I hope you're all doing well. Now that we've thoroughly kickstarted 2025 and some shows I was waiting for to end have ended, I think now is as good a time as any to reflect on the series that came out last year. So today we're gonna start the year off strong on the channel with the Mega Anime Recap. Mega. I don't know why I did that. Last time I did an anime recap, I only kinda talked about shows from the winter, and since then, a lot more stuff came out. So to make up for last time, I'm gonna go over the seasonal shows I watched and thought were noteworthy in 2024. These will be from the spring, summer, and fall, then by the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you what I think deserves Anime of the Year. I figured I had a bit of extra time to get this one out since the Anime Awards are now in May, for some reason, so I'm actually not really late. Everyone else was just early with their videos. Einstein said time was relative, am I right? Alright, I'll stop wasting time. Everyone get cozy, sit back, and it's time we take another look back at the anime from 2024. Well, actually, before I talk about spring anime, there's one from the winter that I just didn't talk about last time, and I feel I have an obligation to mention it here. Dungeon Meshi. Here we have stupid, dumb idiots fighting and eating bug snacks while traversing through the big dungeon. Yeah, I like the show a lot. Once again, Studio Trigger came back to bring us yet another banger. Fantasy anime had already made incredible waves early in 2024, with Frieren finishing up, and Dungeon Meshi kept the genre going in a completely different way. This is a show that embraces the tomfoolery that is anime while giving you a pretty damn interesting story. I was not expecting such a lore-rich world from a show that initially seemed like it was just gonna be about cooking up the monsters and eating them. This strange dungeon the main party finds themselves venturing through is incredibly expansive. A whole ecosystem exists here, and messing around with it has consequences. Fucking around too much on one floor can cause problems in other places. Monsters will start to climb up or descend through floors, impacting the overall balance. Other species that live inside the dungeon also get affected, and resources become at risk of being depleted. So much thought was put into the actual structure of the dungeon rather than it being the typical big strong monsters on the lower floors and then you're gonna need a big sword to get through them. So that was nice. Aside from the dungeon itself, the characters here are pretty sick. Everyone is likable in different ways that make going through each episode enjoyable. I watched this one dubbed because I saw a bunch of cool people that I like were in it, and they fucking cooked. Their performances have a ton of charm and bring an extra layer of life to the show, so if you're gonna watch this one, give the dub a chance, you coward. Overall, Dungeon Meshi was a fun time with a good story, good animation, and good characters, so if you couldn't tell by me saying it, this show is good. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with Season 2. Now with that done, we can finally move on to the rest of the year. Oh shit, I'm gonna be here for a while. Spring was cool, I guess. We got a Spice and Wolf remake, which was nice to see. I mean, the original was also cool, but you know, nice regardless. A lot of this season was filled to the brim with sequels, and I'm gonna be real, I don't give much of a fuck about MHA Season 7 or Demon Slayer, whatever the fuck season that is. You see, I need some real sequels, not no bullshit shonen fuckers, no. I need that good, elite slop. Oh, Mushoku Tensei! Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2 taught me a valuable lesson. Cheating on your pregnant wife is a-okay as long as you love the other girl just as much. Rudy, what the fuck, man? It's getting harder to defend this goofball as time goes on. It started with his D-Gen shit as a NEET, then his D-Gen shit as a reincarnated femboy, and now he's collecting fantasy women like Pokemon cards, and that brother is addicted to them packs. Alright, but really, after coming off the erectile dysfunction arc, Ryu's life is really on the up in more ways than one. Yeah, I realize if you've never heard of this show before, it sounds pretty bad. But oh look, boobs and fighting. Ooh, my brain is melting. Mushoku Tensei is a well-made show. If you like isekais, it is worth it. You want a title that knows how to balance the sheer fuckery of isekai while giving you a serious plot at the same time, this is honestly one of the best out there. And with Season 2 Part 2, it is a return to form for the series. We get that adventure we missed out on from the first part of Season 2, and it was very nice to see. I still miss that whole feel from earlier in the show with everyone's favorite bald Unk and angry red tsundere, but it still maintains exactly what made the show so strong in the first place. There were some really hard-hitting moments in this part of the season that surely, most definitely, had an impact on Rudy for the better. I think. But yeah, a lot of cool moments and fun action with some goofiness. Mushoku Tensei definitely finished off Season 2 strong. Hopefully next time we see him again, Rudius' streak of terror will come to an end. Yeah, no, who am I kidding? Let's be real. Kono Suba is back, baby! 5 long years I waited. Actually, it was only 1 because I watched Konosuba last year, but to prove the point, 5 long years! Spring 2024 really thrived at giving us peak isekai back, and let me tell you, I was very happy to get more Konosuba. This show is like the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia of the anime world. The characters are all insane in some way and somehow stumble their way to the finish line every episode. If you've never watched it before, it's a parody of the isekai genre where some dude dies like a fucking goofball, gets reincarnated, and is allowed to bring one thing with him to the other world. So, he chooses the goddess Aqua, who is also a stupid idiot. Then in this new world, they gather a band of more dumbasses as they very slowly try to take down the Demon King. Listen, my description of the show really ain't gonna do the show justice, so just give it a watch if you haven't already. I genuinely think this is still my favorite isekai out there because of that unserious nature, and season 3 continues on this constant ride of chaos. All the characters here are just as much fun as when we left them, and the comedy still lands. It picks up right after the events of the movie, and Kazuma's coming off the high of his popular era. He's a little depressed and slightly psychotic, but not for long because the gang gets themselves an invite from this big shot princess that wants to meet them. Surprisingly, season 3 had a lot of solid emotional moments. The whole second arc was really well done, and I think this might be the best Konosuba that we have gotten so far. Do yourself a favor, stop watching other cheat scale isekai and put on Konosuba because every single season, OVA, and movie has been incredible from this series. It's great to have Konosuba back, and I am praying we get a new season within the decade. A man can dream. Gin, scotch, vodka, LeBron James Hennessy, sipping on that bra. Anything you can think of, this man could whip up for you. Bartender Kimi No Glass was yet another remake slash reimagining of an old show, and it was the big vibey vibe series of the spring. Now, was it actually good? I mean, it's pretty cool. I liked him. With Bartender, you're not really getting yourself into anything crazy here plot-wise. It's a dude who is really good at making drinks. Think Soma from Food Wars, but as a bartender and less freaky. Basically, to break it down for you, these girls who work at this big fancy hotel stumble upon a niche bar where only one dude is making drinks. They sip on his magical sauce and are like, yo, we gotta get on that. So they spend the entire series trying to recruit him to join their bar at the hotel while he keeps rejecting them. They even get Grandpa on that shit as reinforcement. Listen, they were real desperate. Despite my goofball synopsis of the show, Bartender is more so about the relationships between this bartender and his customers. People will come in with some assortment of personal issues, then Mr. Bartender over there will spit some wisdom and make a perfect drink to help with all their struggles, because as we all know, alcohol is the solution to everything. The show covers a lot of interesting adult concepts like the stress of work, relationships, past trauma, and depicts it pretty well. Plus we get some cool knowledge bombs about the origins of certain drinks, which is pretty neat. Overall, Bartender was a cozy show, nothing too revolutionary, but I would say if you don't have anything to watch, it's enjoyable. Above all, I'm just very happy we got another show that wasn't more high schoolers fucking about, so Bartender gets extra points for that. In conclusion, watch it if you want. Also, please, do not think you can make drinks after this one. You are not him. Wait, what's that? Another anime that's not a sequel or a remake? Thank goodness! Kaiju number 8 was awesome, and if you haven't seen it already, come on, you gotta get on this. Imagine this, a world like ours with these gigantic man-eating creatures terrorize civilization. The governments have assembled a task force with the sole mission to stop these creatures for the sake of humanity. Wait, does this sound kind of familiar, or is that just one ordinary guy with a strong sense of justice finds himself obtaining the powers of these terrifying monsters, but he has control over it. Now, with these powers, they can wipe out all the rest of the monsters who have caused so much pain and suffering to humanity. Wait a minute, this is just Attack on Titan. Or not. What the hell is that? Kaiju as a show is maybe not the most groundbreaking thing you'll ever see, but everything that it does is done well. The animation and fights are top-notch, all the battles are raw and hyped, each with their own unique aspects. Every kaiju has their own set of weaknesses and needs to be handled in a specific way. As a result, the fight sequences have a ton of nuances that keep things engaging. As for the characters, I think everyone is passable here. They are a little on the shonen-y side, but I'd say the main cast is likable. The big standout, of course, is Kafka, who as a protagonist is really refreshing to see. Now, this shonen series does something rather interesting. Get this, the main guy is over 30 years old. Kafka is a lovable, goofy guy with a dream that has been shattered by time. He had pretty much given up any chance of becoming this elite officer as his body and spirit started to crumble. Still, he chose to wear this bright, determined face as he marched forward through life, and then, by sheer chance, he's given an opportunity. Becoming this humanoid kaiju makes him this invincible beast capable of taking down these monsters that have been plaguing humanity for decades. I think what's so interesting about Kafka's character is that even after obtaining the powers of a kaiju, he's still just like a dude, this kind goofball with a strong moral compass. Instead of using his powers to become an officer, he chooses to do it himself. His experience from life and dealing with kaiju corpses all the time instilled in him a lot of knowledge about these monsters, so he's well versed in their weaknesses. Through his determination, he manages to stumble his way onto the forest while keeping his gargantuan secret from everyone that could easily cost him his life if people were to find out. Kafka alone is one of my favorite parts about this series, and he gives some hope to all the unks out there, so major respect to him. All in all, Kaiju No. 8 is a very solid series that lays the foundation of what could be one of the next big shonen anime to dominate a generation. But we'll just have to wait and see, because sometimes writers can just fuck off halfway through the story. Anyway, final thoughts. This is like Attack on Titan mixed with One Punch Man, so put it on if you like to watch the punchies. Alright, now it's time for my seasonal rapid fire, where I'm going to talk about stuff pretty dang quickly. Let's go. Cloverworks brought us our annual delinquent show, Windbreaker, taking over from Tokyo Revengers' legendary fall-off. The show follows Haruka Sakura as he aims to become the top delinquent at a school for delinquents. He meets his fellow meatheads and they punch each other a bunch, become friends, and then punch the bad guys. After that, they work to protect the little sector of town because the police don't exist here. Windbreaker was stupid. It does not even deserve the wording of stupid. No, it is stupid. Now, I enjoyed it like a little bit and it had a lot of heart, but I can't really say this is a world-shattering experience. If you need dumb, fun action with animation that is far too good, then go ahead and watch it. If you want an actual good delinquent show, go watch Rainbow. It is really, really good. Anyway, I give Windbreaker a dollar store sticker out of 10. Astro Note was a big disappointment for me. I saw anime original from people who worked on Gintama and thought, ooh, this might be cool. No, it was pretty lame and I just didn't really vibe with it. In fact, I don't even really want to talk about this one that much. This is just an excuse for me to say go watch or read Mason Ikoku if you want a romance series with a shared house that's actually good. No rating for this one. To cap off the rapid fire section, I must confess my final oopsie poopsies for the spring, and it was that I did not watch the Fable or Slime Season 3. Fable I've actually read a chunk of, and I think it deserves a shout for being genuinely interesting. Basically, it's this legendary assassin called Fable who's tasked with trying to live a normal life for a year where he's not allowed to kill or anything, but it becomes very hard to abide by that rule thanks to some chaotic gangster shit. It's a pretty cool concept. I'll definitely finish this up when I get a chance. I'm not sure how the anime was, but the manga so far from what I've read was pretty cool, so deserves a shout for that. On the side of Slime, I just didn't give enough of a shit to watch it. I'm sorry, guys. Now, to finish off the spring, it looks like we're gonna talk about, what? Cute girls? Doing cute things? In a band? What the hell, dude? Bullshit am I gonna watch? Yeah, I really like this show. Girls Band Cry was the best anime of the spring to me. Sorry guys, but Toei Animation really cooked here and I love this shit. So before you say anything, just hear me out. The show follows this girl named Nina, who happens to be part of the Country Bumpkin Alliance and decides to move to the big city of Tokyo. There she plans to study and get into a good college, cause due to some unfortunate circumstances, she dropped out of high school. After having a tough go of it, she meets this cool-ass rocker girl named Momika, who also happens to be the former guitarist of Nina's favorite band. The two become close, and wabam, Nina gets opened up to the world of music. Together, they make a band. Then, they cry. Girls Band Cry. Boo! Shut the fuck up! Loser! I'm sorry, it was right there. I had to. 3D character models, cute girls doing music. This really just wasn't the type of show that I would normally find myself watching. But for some reason, I was really intrigued by it. Whether it be because Toei was working on it, those creative visuals, or the music video releases, something compelled me to watch it, and after giving the first episode a chance, I really got invested in this series. Girls Band Cry is a show about life with a group of people who have found healing and comfort in music. It's their escape from the hardships of life, and creating it allows them to unload all the emotional baggage that each person carries. The members of this band are all flawed and at different points in life, but share this dream of having success in the music industry. Like it is with any dream, adversity is inevitable, and each character has their own interesting, relatable setbacks. Whether that be overcoming past insecurities or confronting a large failure that happened to them years ago, every single experience and emotion conveyed in the show is so genuine. Then, against all odds, these feelings are aided by how good the visuals are. Like, the 3D models actually work and add something to the viewing experience? What the fuck? Usually, this is considered the death sentence for an anime. Just ask Berserk 2016. and Berserk 2017. And half the Berserk movies. Fuck, why can't we get a good Berserk adaptation, man? Anyway, to my dismay, the style is kind of what kept me watching initially. The character expressions have way more life than a lot of other anime that I've seen. They felt real while still being anime, you know? Man, that's some top-notch analysis right there. Anime. They better give me an award for that one. The style perfectly matches the tone the show is going for and really enhances all those little feelings that the characters exude. They're most impactful when we get to see the characters go up on stage to perform. Through some pretty dang solid musical pieces and dynamic shots, we get to see this release of raw emotion from our main cast. Every feeling that's been bottled up throughout the show is poured out on stage. I've found with so many anime in the past that they'll just throw in a musical section just for the sake of it, and while it can be pretty cool, sometimes I'll just be sitting there looking at my TV and being like, oh, well that's nice. This show actually gets you invested in these characters and you want them to succeed. So yeah, maybe I did bump my head while watching with a stupid grin on my face. Sue me, bitch. Anyway, I've been yapping about this one for a while, so let me finish this up by saying that Girls Band Cry was a treat that I was not expecting. If you want a show that's wholesome, relatable, and real, you gotta give this one a shot. This is my first Din must-watch stamp of the video. And just like that, would you look at that, we got through the spring, baby. Only 2 more seasons to go. Until all the other shows that I missed in the spring, sorry. I just didn't watch it. You know, maybe next time I'll get your show, pal. Anyway, up next we got the summer, so hopefully it did not disappoint. The summer kinda had a little bit going on, some high highs, lower lows, and some weird ass shit. It may not have been the strongest season this year, but I can't say I was too upset, mainly because of the fact that Monogatari came back. After a 5-year wait, some studio troubles, and a global pandemic, the Monogatari series has returned. I'm not even gonna bother trying to explain what the hell the series is for newcomers, cause there's far too much to cover. If you like the Bunny Girl series and shows like Holic, Mushishi Mononoke, or anything artsy fartsy, you'll probably enjoy this one. I think the biggest praise I can give the off-season was that it just felt like no time had passed since we last saw it. We get thrown right back into the wild world that is the Monogatari series in the same way we're used to with some clean, modern animation. On that point, Shaft really went off here. The shots were stylized and bombastic with a ton of different pop culture references, the dialogue was just as witty as ever, and most of all, our favorite criminal didn't do anything illegal this season. I think. So that's a plus. All the new story arcs were quite nice, one highlight being the Sengoku redemption arc, which was a much needed one considering the fact that she tried to kill the main couple. All she really had going for her these years was the fact that her theme song was like the literal anime anthem. I really like that she had to do a lot of personal reflecting on every different version of herself and come to this conclusion that they all happened for a reason. This part of the season was just like a major flex from Nishio Ishin being like, I can make you hate this character, make her seem like this irredeemable piece of shit, then make you empathize with her. Look, she has passion, look, she has anxiety, and she draws. Aww. Beyond just the Sengoku arc, the real highlight of this one was the return of Araragi and his little detective arc. It had some good twists and turns. I definitely think the dialogue was the big standout in this part. I especially like that it leaned into the mystery aspect of the series and has you trying to solve this complex puzzle each episode, just for you to feel stupid by the end of it. This season of Monogatari was a real joy, and this is still one of, if not my favorite series of all time. It was great having it come bi-weekly, especially in what was a relatively dry season. My only complaint here is that we didn't get enough Senjo Gahara, but when she did show up, I was very happy. And just so we're clear here on where I stand, she is the best girl on the show, and if you disagree, I guess Kaiki works too. Why hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever wanted a light novel romance series where the gimmick is the main girl hides her feelings in Russian? No. Well, here you are, fine people. I bring you Russian girl who hides her feelings in her native tongue. But get this, the main guy also knows Russian. So I guess she's not really hiding her feelings then! Ayla hides her feelings in Russian, also gets the rating of being stupid. This series is incredibly dumb. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of the time anime is meant to be dumb. I'm not the type of person that thinks that there always needs to be this crazy message that imparts crucial life lessons onto you. I think balance is a very important thing, especially with anime. However, this show manages to fuck that up by introducing a random and uninteresting plotline. See, I think the start of the show was actually pretty strong. It felt like a classic light novel romance adaptation with some weird shit, good animation, and just that overall cozy feel you'd usually get from watching what I like to call slop. It's silly, a bit predictable, and turns your brain off. Not only was it pretty fun, but the animation and art style was really good. The show is pleasing on the eyes, which can be a really hard thing for anime sometimes. My main problem with this title is that they tried to make the story extra serious with the whole student council arc, and it falls very flat. This show is at its best when the characters are together and goofing off, so when they take that away and replace it with a very bland attempt at storytelling, it leaves a bad impression. The whole student council arc becomes a secret family civil civil war featuring main guy, his sister, and some Russian chick who doesn't even know what's going on. Now this show is relatively popular and it's getting a season 2, so maybe I'm just being a grudge, but as the connoisseur of slop, I really can't overlook the bullshit that this show pulls out towards the end. I think if you like watching slop like me, this show is something that can somewhat fill that void. Just if you start to get bored, do yourself a favor and stop watching. The show was disappointing, but knowing my addiction to slop, I will probably watch season 2. Finally, we're back to a good light novel adaptation with Makeine. This show, as implied by the title, is about those girls who don't make it out as the winner in their respective romance battles. We've got the energetic, athletic one, the shy, annoying one, and of course, the most notorious of them all, the blue-haired girl. A legendary character type that has roughly a 0.0001% chance of actually winning. Even if they're perhaps the better character, they still end up losing for that one defining trait, the blue hair. Big props to this show for actually giving her some love. Too Many Losing Heroines takes this creative concept and works with it in a really clever way to provide a refreshing take on a lot of harem romancy tropes. It gives us a solid set of main characters who are both silly and interesting. I think Anna was definitely the standout for me because she is just an absolute goofball. It's just fun chaos whenever she's on screen. Like, she definitely makes things a lot more entertaining. In terms of our main protagonist, he's a bit of a wet blanket, very standard as lead characters go, but he's passable. I would like to see more character growth from him in the future, but I can't dig into Nuzu too hard because he doesn't commit any major offenses. I think one of the strongest parts in this show is actually how it focuses on the platonic relationships that form between each of the main characters. This first season is a lot more about these girls trying to get over their hardships while this dude kinda helps them out, in turn creating his first set of friends. Anna and Nuzu's friendship definitely was the standout of all of them, and it's been pretty satisfying to see develop. I definitely think this is one of those romances where the slow burn is gonna thrive, giving us a lot more of the intricate emotions in between the final relationship. Season 1 of Too Many Losing Heroines gave us yet another light novel adaptation with great animation and some fun shenanigans. This was definitely one of the highest points for the summer that romance fans you're probably gonna want to watch. Pseudo Harem came along last summer and did the impossible. It ended the great issue plaguing the anime community for decades, the Best Girl War. To do this, they enacted something unthinkable. They removed the competition from the equation. But then, you may ask, Din, how is this still a harem? Well, my friends, I introduce to you Multiple Personalities Chan. Basically, Pseudo Harem is about this girl Rin. She is an actress and wants to join the drama club, so she enters and meets the set designer named Eiji. Eiji is a simple man. He likes making shit, enjoys a bit of the trolling, and most of all, he wants his own harem. And lucky for him, he strikes gold right here. Rin takes on the task by acting out a full harem for one man. In doing so, she gets to practice her acting and get closer to this guy, because surprise, surprise, she likes him. She likes him. This is a really cute and wholesome romance. It's clean, satisfying, it depicts some really nice moments that'll tug at your heartstrings. This is not a crazy masterpiece in the genre, but once again, this is peak slop to melt your brain away with. I really like this show, and if you want a series that wraps itself up in 12 episodes while giving you a good romance without any bullshit, here you go, watch it. Alright, the time has come once again for our seasonal rapid fire, where I'm gonna talk about a lot more stuff this time. Oshi No Ko Season 2 came and went, yeah, it's a good story, yeah, good production value, but you know, all I can really think about with this series right now is how the manga ended. It was just so abrupt, and while not exactly the most surprising finale in the world, just the way it was done was so jolting. It was like speeding on the highway and then just hitting the brakes, coming to an abrupt halt. I really hope when this gets animated in whatever season, it gets fleshed out just the tiniest bit more. Oh yeah, season 2. Everything was good. I'm gonna be real, I just wanted an excuse to talk about the manga for the moment. Listen, I've been holding it in for a while, and at least I'm not talking about JJK, because then we'd be here for a lot longer. Okay, Kimi Ni Todoke, Season 3. Man, it's been a while since I saw this one. When the hell did Season 2 come out? 13 years. Oh my lord, that is absurd. An anime coming back after such a long hiatus almost never happens. This is what we call in the industry a miracle. Now, is Kimi Ni Todoke still good? Yeah, absolutely. Come on, man. This is peak shoujo. Everything is back. Our favorite wholesome girl, the awesome besties, the incredibly long and awkward pauses. It's all back with that brand new animation. This one coming back just really makes me happy. You know, it's one of those incredibly solid shows that had a lot more to tell, but wasn't given the opportunity, and the fact that it came back with these hour-long episodes was just amazing. We got so many good payoffs, and each of the main characters got a ton of love. Also, just to note, the pacing was a lot better than before. I mean, I guess you're kind of forced to do that when you only have 5-hour-long episodes, but regardless, it was a pleasant surprise. Now, I know I've been talking about romances so much in this video, but if you need one to just relax with, this is absolutely one of the best of the best. It is so great to have this show back, and hopefully Netflix will greenlight a season 4. Okay, let's see what we got next. Dear Anime. Okay, interesting. Let's play this. Oh. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the fuck just happened. When I watched last episode, it was like getting the Men in Black neuralizer. Something in my brain went kaboom while watching this. 6 out of 10, would do again. It was like my last road trip. Next up, Code Geass. Code Geass came back? How, man? It's over. Jover, man. Leave it to Code Geass to always come back and be like, hey nephew, I got one more in me. And this time around, I can say I have no idea why this happened. Listen, I tried giving it a chance, which I think is more than most people would, because Code Geass is one of my favorite anime of all time. I think the world definitely has more potential for storytelling, just not like this, man. To me, we either leave Code Geass as what it was, or if we want to go apeshit again, just go all in or something. Like, if this is meant to be fan service fuckery, then put Lelouch all over it. Make him a true mentor of the series. He's literally one of the most popular anime characters ever. If you're trying to make money, that's probably the best route. Overall with this one, if you go in thinking that it's not Code Geass and have very low expectations, I guess this is passable. But again, it's just hard for me to overlook that fact, and I think you might just be better off watching the original again. So that's my conclusion here. Just go watch OG Code Geass. The final section of Rapid Fire is going to One Piece! One Piece went off this year, and especially during the summer, so you know, as the resident addict, I had to mention it. The animation went fucko mode in the show. There's no other way to put it. Again, it has had some of the most apeshit awesome moments, and it displayed some of the most fluid, dynamic, interesting fight scenes I've seen in anime, like, ever. The action sequences here are up there with some of the greats, and I just wanted to gush about it for a little bit. Also, while we're still talking about One Piece, even though this technically came out in the fall, I thought I might as well mention the fan letter. Fan letter encapsulates such a beautiful story worked into One Piece really well right after the time skip. In my One Piece video, I talked about how those moments when we see the rest of the world looking in at the Straw Hats are really cool, and fan letter basically does that the whole time. We get the outside perspectives of the Straw Hats from just a bunch of random people. Some are fans, some are haters, but regardless, it was a really great way to build up the world even more. The directing was outstanding, typical of what we've come to expect from Ishitami Megami. She really puts a ton of work into her craft, and you can see it all over this episode. Overall, One Piece fans, we are still eating good, with the manga going off, the anime coming back soon, and getting remade multiple times. Oh, and also don't forget the live action that's coming out later this year. Like, this is some foolishness, man. I don't want to hear any complaining from any One Piece fans about lack of content. Like, if you do complain, you stupid. Alright, that's all I got for Rapid Fire for the summer, so now it's time for Anime of the Season. Drumroll, please. It's Monogatari. It's Monogatari. I have a very strong bias towards this show. Makeine probably should be the winner, but my video, my rules. So now, with that all out of the way, brace yourselves, because we're about to talk about the best season of 2024. Fall was the season of bangers, baby. Left, right, and center, things were going crazy. I'm not gonna waste any time here because we've got a lot to talk about, so first up, let's take a look at... I wonder what this one's called. Dandadan came out guns blazing as the show to top all other shows. It was a showcase of some of the most hype, insane moments we saw from anime in 2024, and I think this series single-handedly pumped life back into the hearts of Shonen Jump fans who had just come off these two fuckers ending very abruptly. Dandadan had it all. Action that hits harder than the wooden spoon, tragic backstories, a cute romance, boxing aliens, freaky grandmas, hype transformations, and balls. It's actually a really major plot point. If for some reason you don't know about this show, basically these two goofballs, Okarun and Momo, meet one day and have an argument like toddlers about whether or not ghosts and aliens are real. McLovin over there says that aliens are real, and Riri Shadow over here says that spirits are real. So after their little dispute, they decide to go out and prove each other wrong. But here's the thing, they were both right. So now these two end up stepping into these crazy worlds that defy any sort of logic and reasoning. And if you don't believe me, the whole premise for the show is that Okarun's balls get stolen by a spirit called Turbo Granny. She turns them into gold nuggets, hides them, and subsequently loses them, and thus the search begins. It's like Dragon Ball, but if the balls were Goku's nuts. What you get from Dandadan is pure lunacy, but everything here is fleshed out so well to the point where you just accept whatever's happening. This ride is bananas, pun intended, and it's one of the most distinct viewing experiences that I've had watching an anime in a while. Science Saru really went off with this adaptation, adding so much to every single frame, and one episode in particular really evoked such a raw emotional response out of me. This adaptation is what you could only dream of for your favorite manga because it actually adds adds to the original source material. Dandadan is such a clever take in this new era of Shonen Jump, and I really think this is going to be one of the new phases of the anime world. You want a show with lovable characters that actually develop, great action, and a premise that will evoke real emotional responses out of you. This is absolutely worth watching. All of the praise you've heard about the show is absolutely warranted, and it was one of the best shows of the year. This is a must-watch. Blue Box, to my disappointment, did not feature any blue boxes, so pretty misleading on that end. 0 out of 10. Not enough crate. Okay, yeah, fine. This was one of the best pure romances we got last year. On paper, Blue Box really just sounds like some bullshit mid-2000s low-budget harem where the main guy and girl, who both really like sports and kinda like each other, end up living together. But what we get here is actually a really well-structured sports romance anime with insane production value. The overall aesthetic and animation we get from this is just beautiful. All the colors pop nicely, the movements are fluid, the backgrounds are slick, and just a dream of an adaptation if you are a Blue Box fan. One of my favorite aspects about Blue Box is that the main characters have goals outside of their romances. Everyone is working towards a certain ambition whilst also encountering romantic feelings for the first time. A lot of other romance anime will just kind of have the characters kind of do absolutely nothing, so it's nice to see them get that extra layer of depth here. On top of that, their goals aren't always these fixed spots. They'll change as the character grows, and that's especially the case for the main character. All that really just helps to add an additional bit of authenticity surrounding these characters, which is pretty dang refreshing to see from what is a high school romance. Overall, this show was an absolute treat for me. I'm an avid enjoyer of both sports and romance anime, and it gives the perfect blend of flavors, like that one scene in Ratatouille. We're at a point now in the show where things are still brewing, and I definitely think this anime has the potential to be one of the great modern romance anime. So yeah, this along with The Dangers in My Heart Season 2 were probably the strongest pure romances we saw this year, and I'd call this one another must-watch for romance fans specifically. Once again, Bleach has come back hot, giving us yet another season of hype action, and right now we are in the climax of this final arc. Now, this series has definitely had its ups and downs over the years, but I'm super happy that it's going out with a bang, and Season 3 of the 1000-year Blood War arc has just been good. Was it as good as the first part of this arc? No, but they're really building towards the conclusion of this legendary series, and every episode has something to keep you engaged. There are a lot of really nice backstories here for both heroes and villains. One of my favorites in particular was Shinsui's past. He's always been a really interesting character to me, and I think him getting the spotlight was well deserved. Plus, the episode with the reveal of his Bankai was so well animated. Studio Pierrot taking those animators off Boruto was one of the best things that could have happened for Bleach. Seriously. Every episode was well animated, and each fight manages to stand out in its own way during this 14-episode run. Now, to be honest, I probably could have put this show in the rapid fire section, but you know, I just wanted to yap about Bleach for a bit. I love this one. Anyway, if you are a longtime Bleach fan, I'd highly recommend catching up while you can, because very soon, we're gonna have another one of the big three ending, so you'll definitely want to be there. To those of you who haven't watched Bleach before and want to give it a chance, watch till the Soul Society arc and see if you dig it. I actually think Bleach has one of the strongest starts from the big three, at least in terms of the anime adaptations. Alright, I've yapped enough about Bleach, so on to the next. Ranma 1/2 keeps this beautiful streak of modern Rumiko Takahashi adaptations going, and I am so happy that we keep getting these. I really hope they keep pumping out the remakes of the classics because they are so good and deserve to be in the spotlight. Of course, Ranma is no exception. Quick rundown, this dude and his dad go on a legendary training arc in China, and they both get mythical superpowers, but actually it's more like a curse than anything. Whenever cold water is poured on them, Pops turns into a panda, and our main guy gender swaps. Ooh. But the problems don't end there, folks, because a little bit before this trip happened, Pops and his best friend had a little talk to each other, being like, yo bro, wouldn't it be sick if our kids like married each other? Bro, then we'd be like super bros. Bro. So now Ranma right here has a new problem to deal with, an arranged marriage with a girl he is seemingly completely incompatible with. The two families start living together, and we've got on our hands a little enemies to lovers living together high school martial arts romance, baby. Ranma is an extremely good rom-com series that embodies some of the most fun classic elements that anime has to offer. We've got a really interesting story, characters that are goofy but also grow as human beings, some fun breaks of action in between, and just overall a really fun time. One thing that Rumiko Takahashi really popularized back in the day was this misunderstanding trope. Nowadays, a lot of time when we encounter it in certain shows, it comes across as really irritating more than anything, but here and in a lot of her works, the trope is used in the right way. In some cases, it's so extreme to the point where it's actually funny and not insufferable. It makes a lot of the scenarios we encounter in the show a lot more endearing and charming, which ends up making you feel more attached to these characters. Through some of the strange bullshit that happens here, we get to see all of our main characters actually develop, and thanks to the pacing being slightly sped up in this version, time, we actually get to see that character growth within this first season. Mappa did an incredible job bringing Ranma to the modern era, and its overall style is clean while remaining faithful to the original vibe of the series. This is peak slop, a rom-com that has the spirit of all those classics and is brought into the modern anime landscape in a really clean way, so please watch this if you like romances. For the final time of the video, rapid fire is now upon us, where I'm gonna go slightly quicker this time, cause holy shit, I watched a lot of shit. PNG's the motion picture. That's a 2-for-1 right here. Blue Lock and Uzumaki basically said fuck you to the fans of their respective series, though in completely different ways. While Uzumaki started off with a bang, then fell off a cliff as the show ended, Blue Lock, on the other hand, was like, yo, what if I did the opposite of that? So the animators were nowhere to be found for the first 13 episodes, then bam! Animation. It's unfortunate that the conditions were so shit for both series, but hopefully next time Blue Lock comes around, the animation returns to normal, because if not, people are not going to watch this. Or maybe they will. What the fuck do I know? Dragon Ball Daima. Dragon Ball Daima. It's pretty cool, baby. This is the final official story from the legendary Akira Toriyama, and so far Daima has given us a fun new story that is absolutely a must-watch for all Dragon Ball fans. It's a direct sequel to Z, so don't worry if you haven't seen Super or anything yet, you can kinda just flip this one on. Goku and crew basically get turned back into kids by this evil dude who just felt like fucking with them. This is a Dragon Ball story that feels like the classic series with a lot of adventure elements, and I think it's a really nice change of pace from all the godly sagas we've got in recent years. With this being the final work from Toriyama, I think any Dragon Ball fan should do themselves a favor and watch it. Just in general, the Dragon Ball series is one that I really love, and at some point in the future, I will devote a full video to the series, so stay tuned for that. Okay, next up we have Yakuza Fiancé. Now, how do I describe this? Insane people. These are insane people. Somehow, this show is just something that I cannot take my eyes off of. You are in it to win it once you turn this one on, and, I think I have problems. This is another one of those arranged marriage shows, this time between two Yakuza families. On one side we have this pretty normal cool girl, and on the other side, Yandere man. He's obsessed with her and only likes it when she's hardcore, like step on me type shit. So our normal red hair protagonist has to get hard. This show is not for everyone. It may not be the character drama you're seeking, but what I can say is this is definitely a distinct series with its own personality and a really good art style. If anything, the style is reason enough to give it a chance. Overall, this show's got a mild level of spice. Nothing too crazy. I'll give it a habanero on the spice-o-meter. ReZero Season 3 came out, kind of. The series is currently on hiatus. I've really got about half the show to work with here, and so far my impression of it's alright. I'm gonna be real, sometimes when I watch ReZero, my soul gets drained. This is a show that can range from really good to just kind of alright, and I felt that way with this season more so in particular. Again, it's still a little harsh for me to be like this considering the other half of the season just isn't out yet. From where it stands right now, I think it's got a lot of potential to be one of the stronger seasons of the show, but we'll just have to wait and see. Overall, ReZero is still a pretty dang solid show and gives us probably the best thriller type experience you're gonna get from an isekai. I don't really have much else to say other than that. Drunk deadbeat dad out of 10. Alright, 365 days to the wedding. Alright, confession time. I've already read this. I read all of this. Come on, workplace romance with actual adults. You already know I've probably gobbled that shit up before. This is my bread and butter. In this one, we get two awkward dudes who work at an office job, and one day the boss is like, we're gonna need someone who is unmarried to transfer to the office in Alaska. So upon hearing this, the two goofballs are like, how about we pretend to get married? What an idea, oh my god. The show is them working through hiding their fake relationship as they slowly start to grow closer to each other. I love seeing romances outside of high school, and having one of my slop picks be adapted into an anime was really nice to see. The animation may not be the prettiest, the show may be a little bit stupid, but who fucking cares? I'm happy this shit got an adaptation. If you like romances with awkward adults rather than awkward teenagers, then watch it. It's only 12 episodes and you can pick up the manga right after. I'll give this one some chicken nuggets out of 10. Really good stuff. In conclusion, never underestimate my powers in finding slop. Okay, so that's all I've got for rapid fire today, so now let's move on to the final anime of the video. Picture this, it's 15th century Poland and the holy churches are at the peak of their powers. Society moves as the way the Lord intended it to, at least according to this rigid set of rules that have relentlessly been imposed and are long believed to be perfectly accurate. Anything that goes against these ideas in turn go against the Lord and are treated as heresy. Those who dare defy it in any way, shape, or form would face the most brutal and terrifying consequences. Now, Raphael is a young scholarly prodigy who understands this nature of his society. He prioritizes logic above all else and isn't afraid to bend the truth, all for the sake of having a smooth life. And his life was seemingly going in the right direction. He's headed to university at a young age, is well liked by all of his peers, and he's going to be studying the most respected academic field, theology, though his true interests lie within the stars, in astronomy. And one day he encounters a strange man who reignites that passion with the seemingly irrational, blasphemous astronomical idea. that the sun is at the center of the universe and not the Earth. And rather, the Earth, along with the other planets, orbit the sun. See, at this point in time, geocentrism was the concept that was widely promoted by the church because it was consistent in the Holy Scriptures. So, of course, any ideas that oppose it would be viewed as completely absurd. However, upon hearing this man's rationale and experiencing it for himself, Raphael finds himself engulfed in heliocentrism. The dots start to connect, and it seems to be more rational than any other theory he'd previously encountered. So Raphael begins his pursuit in secrecy, attempting to prove the beauty of the heliocentric theory. If anyone were to find out about his studies, he'd be deemed a heretic and would face a great number of unimaginable horrors. Orb movements of the Earth follows the determination of several sets of people as they embark through the process of merely attempting to prove and study the heliocentric theory in the face of a society that is constantly trying to reject them. This anime is one of those special cases that comes around once in a blue moon. Though perhaps not the most perfectly accurate documentation of historical events, it still provides an incredible period piece that sucks us into the realities of where human curiosity might have led you at that time. From a narrative standpoint, we follow a bunch of different main characters that choose to study this theory for a bunch of different reasons. For some, it's a fight for freedom, for others it's a determination to maintain faith in the face of something new. Each character's motivation for studying it is incredibly interesting, and you get absolutely engulfed in each person's circumstances. The story is almost always engaging, the world is brutal yet intriguing, and this is really one of those stories that can stand among some of the modern greats, much like a Vinland Saga. It possesses themes centering around faith, science, and philosophy, all coming together in one of the most impactful anime that has come out in the last few years. Now, I don't want to say too much more about Orb, rather you should just go and watch it yourself, because this is a must-watch. Period. It's a series that you could give to someone who hasn't watched anime before and they'd probably enjoy it. This one is absolutely worth it, so please give it some more love. Alright, so those were the anime of 2024 that I had something to say about, and now, for this final part of the video, we can determine the ultimate question, the one you've all been waiting for, anime of the year. Okay, so a lot of really good contenders here. Now, what do I think will win the Crunchyroll Awards? Probably Frieren, let's be real here. But just giving it to Frieren outright would be kind of boring and semi-anticlimactic, though it does absolutely deserve its praise. So what I'm gonna do here is exclude it from my anime of the year 2024, because a large chunk of it came out in 2023. So in terms of what exclusively came out in 2024, I'm gonna have to give it to Orb and Dandadan. These are two shows that I enjoyed way too much for different reasons, and they definitely caught me off guard the most this year. I know it's a cop-out to give two animes the award, but honestly, I think they really deserve it, and you know, there's really nothing else I can think of that.
そうだ、エヴァンゲリオン M 号機だ。マックのエヴァ、総員注文準備。食べ逃しちゃダメだ。食べ逃しちゃ。あんたバーガー？今3つのバーガーが集結する。ザク切りポテト肉厚ビーフガーリックマヨメキシカンチーズチキンチーズダブル照り焼き。美味しいフィールドを展開。イカリク。綾波。誕生エヴァンゲリオンバーガー。奇跡の味は僕が食べます。タラタタタ。
Okay, fuck it. McDepression wins. See you guys. Now, I don't like being that guy who shamelessly yells subscribe at every part of my video, but I did put some serious hours into this one, and if you want to help support the channel, please consider subscribing because it helps a ton. A little quick update here, with these anime recaps, I'm going to do them twice a year, one that will come out when the spring season's done, and one that will come out when the fall season is done, so these videos just aren't as long or as painful to edit as this one was. So yeah, that's about it for today. Tatsumi Galaxy video is up next. Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you next month. Goodbye.